He's a little bit country. He's a little bit rock and roll. He's a little bit polka, death metal, abstract jazz, and German industrial techno. He's Scott Leffler. He's not allowed near the stereo at parties.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Here's the Thing. I'm your host. My name's Scott Leffler, and we do this every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. here on All West New York Radio, and then podcast it later at allwnyradio.com. Today's show, we've got an old friend of mine, Dan Harrington, who's going to talk cornhole, cancer, comedy, and cab driving. We've got Drew McGrath, who'll be in to talk about sports and more. And then wrapping up the show, we've got the country band Voyager to discuss their music journey and their plethora of awards that they got from All West New York Radio. And we'll have music by the Stress Dolls, DJ Cutler, Alice, and the aforementioned Voyager. But before we get to that, I want to talk about a few things that are on my mind today. So, life is crazy. And if you're a resident of the United States and pay any attention to the news, you know that all too well. Now, just the other day, Monday, actually, we found out that former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with cancer. And obviously, anytime anybody is diagnosed with cancer, that's a bad thing. And, you know, we'll talk to Dan Harrington about his cancer diagnosis in a little bit. But I guess one of the things that irks me about this, well, a few things. All right, so a little bit of religion here. Why do bad things happen to good people? I don't know. We'll start with that. But then on the other side of that, if you will, and the political side of that, and this is the thing that irks me, is on social media, on the former Twitter, now X, there were just all sorts of posts by these vile human beings celebrating the fact that Joe Biden had cancer and, you know, saying that, you know, he was a horrible person and he deserves it and blah, blah. And, dude, I don't care how horrible of a person you are. Nobody deserves cancer. I'm sorry. And then there were posts that say, oh, remember when Democrats celebrated Rush Limbaugh having cancer? And no, I don't. Now, might there have been some radical crazies? Sure. I'm sure that was probably true. Might those radical crazies have been registered Democrats? Sure, plausibly. But it's not to the same degree that I see maggots behaving badly. And I don't really have a problem calling them maggots because frankly that's what they seem like. So I don't know. Joe Biden, I wish you all the best in the world. And you know what? One local Republican politician, actually said some very kind things about Joe Biden, and that was Western New York's own Stefan Mihailo. And Stefan is going to join me next week. He will be our main guest here on Here's the Thing, and we will talk to him about that. I want to talk to him about voting, and specifically American Idol voting. And I know that seems a little weird, but we're going to talk about that next week. But before we get to that, obviously, we have things to discuss this week. And this week is kind of a big deal for me. So this coming Sunday, in just 5 days, I am getting married. And this is kind of like, obviously, it's a big deal. Anytime anybody gets married, it's a big deal. So I have been dating my lovely fiance for a little over 4 years now. We met in high school, had what you would call a flirtationship, if you will. We dated very briefly about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, in fact, but we were in different places. She was looking for something more serious. I was just getting out of a very serious and, frankly, ugly relationship, and I wasn't looking for anything serious. So we dated very briefly, then she went her way and I went my way, and long story short, we found each other again about 4 years ago. Now, she is wonderful. Just for putting up with me, we'll start there. But just as a person, I love who she is as a human being. Now, so we're having a small wedding on Sunday. She really liked the 52525. That she liked the date, so she's like, let's get married on May 25th of 2025, and so we are. But it's going to be a very, very small ceremony, attended by just very, very few family members. My daughters, her parents, that's about it. And then we are going back to our home, and we're going to have two different parties. So we're going to have a party with our family, and then we imagine that will clear out, I don't want to say early, but after a few hours. People with kids, they want to come, they want to go. Older people, they want to come, they want to go. So we have the family party, and then we imagine that many people from the family party will clear out, and then we're having a friends party. That's the party that's going to be happening. And that's the party that I'm really, really looking forward to. Not that I'm not looking forward to, partying it down with my family and her family, mostly her family. She's got this huge family, right? And it's so confusing to me. So my family is, I don't want to say dysfunctional, because that's not right. But we are disjointed. So for representing my family at this party will be my two daughters and my nephew. And that's it. Unfortunately, both my parents are passed. All of my aunts and uncles are gone. My grandparents all passed when I was much younger. So my family, my immediate family, is fairly small. I have two sisters, but they both live in Florida. And so really, locally, it's just my one daughter. My other daughter lives out of state. She's coming in for the wedding, and my nephew also lives out of state, and he's coming in for the wedding. Now, her family, she's got 700 million people. That's a slight exaggeration, but it's huge, and they're tight, and they love each other, and they do things together, and it is so confusing because that is not at all what I learned, what family was. And I say to her all the time, I'm like, your family's weird. But maybe they're not. But I will tell you this, out of anyone that I've ever dated, they are all more like my family. Family's kind of just disjointed, a little dysfunctional. This is the first person that I've really ever known in life that has had a functional family, and it's just amazing. I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to officially being a part of that family. And that'll happen on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, the one part that I'm potentially not looking forward to is that her family has people of different political persuasions. Let's put it that way. And they are very staunch in their persuasions. She has a couple family members who are staunchly MAGA, and she has a couple family members who are very staunchly liberal. And we're really hoping that the politics does not invade the wedding. But if it does, and if there's a brawl, two things. One, I will take pictures. Two, I will talk about it here next week. But before we can get to that, we've got to do this week. So first up, we're going to play a song, and then we've got Dan Harrington in studio to discuss comedy, cancer, cornhole, and cab driving right after this.
Stains my palms, your face and all my favorite songs. It's like my stereo is blaring in your smile. And this I promise you, no rings, no vows, I'd still be true. Yeah, even in the tamest touch, our love runs wild. Memories like visions in our sleep. 'Cause I know that we're not perfect, but you still make me just as nervous as the days I felt you were within my reach. As the days I felt you were within my reach. As the days I felt you were within my reach.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by that crazy guy down the street that's always yelling at kids to get off his lawn.
All right, joining us in studio at 1625 Buffalo Avenue, Niagara Falls, is an old friend of mine, Daniel Harrington. Now, I'm probably going to call him Dan throughout the course of the show, but it's Daniel because he's a proper guy. So our studios have been here in the old Carborunda building on Buffalo Avenue in Niagara Falls for, I want to say, 8 years now. And Dan is one of the first people that I met when I moved in because Dan was working downstairs delivering people around Western New York as part of, I feel like there's 3 different cab companies in the building, and I don't remember which one is which.
Yeah, I work for A Plus Express Transportation. Thank you for the introduction as well.
You're very welcome. So that's how I met Dan. But I know Dan just because he's a good guy. He's funny. He makes me laugh. I know he does some comedy and he plays cornhole. So we're going to talk about all those things and just some variety of other things. Now, Dan, it's been a while since you've been in the office. And I know that you were about, I want to say, 2/3 the man you were last time I saw you. You've lost some serious weight. How are you feeling?
I'm a little less than 2/3.
Really?
130 pounds. I'm currently 203.
Yeah. So Dan was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was like October, maybe August was the proper diagnosis of 2024.
All right. So not quite 2 years ago.
It was about 2 years ago that I was feeling the symptoms and side effects. And
one of the first things Dan told me was, I'm going to fucking beat it.
No doubt.
And it's been 2 years, and you look really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you feeling, though?
I feel like spiritually I've grown to a level that's not even humanized anymore.
Really?
I feel like I'm closer to the creator of the universe through having that dependency of needing him instead of just floating through life with my head in a cloud thinking that we're just here for torture.
Now, the spirituality that you bring up, this is a new side of you. This is something I'm unfamiliar with. Is this part of your treatment?
Well, no. To be honest with you, October 19th, 1993, I was in a group home trying to get transferred to Baker Hall, and I wanted to go to Baker Hall because all my friends are there. And
Baker Hall is in Father Baker?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm Mike Willimon, who's no longer with us. He passed away, but I wanted to be with him because we were tight and I trusted him.
All right.
I wanted to know all this God stuff, if it was real or not. And I was in a Christian home, and I asked, his name was Jim Payne. He was a pastor in, I'll think of the town in a minute, but not Hornell. It'll come to me out that way. And I said, what's all this God crap you talk about? And he said,
all this God crap. I'm sure that went over well.
Well, it's real, and if it ain't, it ain't. Actually, I said, what's all this God shit you talk about? And he said, you got 15 minutes discipline time. I said, as long as you ain't bullshit me, I'll do 5 hours. Get to the point. Is it real or is it bullshit?
Right.
And he told me, here's John 3:16. You invite him in your heart, and you'll notice day by day that you're not the same person anymore. And I kind of did that. And the first thing I did, even before all that happened, when I opened up my eyes, was I said my first prayer, and I said, God, if you're real, help me go home. Give me a way to get home. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, the tough guy wanted to be transferred with his buddy so we could have an organized camp.
Right.
And I got called up into the office not even 24 hours later by Harry Ballas. He was the head overseer of New Life Home Snow Farm, where I was placed for 18 months. I ended up doing 36 without seeing a judge. So this is approximately 30 months in. Everything okay?
Yeah, just keep talking.
And what he said to me was, Daniel, if you tried half as hard to go home as you were to get transferred, you'd be home by now. And that really opened up my eyes, because the night before I was praying to God, and I said, if you're real and there's a way that I can go home, show me. And that's what opened up my curiosity. And you're talking to somebody who's been a believer since October 19th, 1993. I lied, 93 or 96, I can't remember. It was like towards the end. I remember I turned 15. My father had pancreatic cancer. I got to watch him. They prayed for him. They gave him 6 months to live, the same timing as Michael Landon had the diagnosis.
Uh-huh.
Michael Landon lived 3 months fighting with the best doctor money you could have. My dad lived 6 years, set medical history books, and showed me that prayer changes things. And I never gave up hope that it could. And when I got hit with the illness, I knew that it was going to teach me something.
Right.
And, don't pray for patience. You'll be waiting in line a lot. You'll be waiting a lot. You'll be building patience.
Sure.
Patience comes through tribulation. So if you don't like waiting, don't try to be a patient person. But without patience, you're going to be a hothead.
So when you were diagnosed in August of 23,
And I'm
what don't worry about it. What did they tell you at the time?
They told me that I would get results within a few days. Up to like a week later, my appointment was. I got called the next day and was asked if I could come in the office. And I did, and I went in. They did an endoscopy. They stuck a tube down my throat. Maybe 5 years ago, they told me that I had scar tissue from acid reflux, and that I could turn cancerous if I don't treat it. And at this stage, it was called Barrett's esophagus. And what that is when your natural pH levels create acid in your stomach overly. It backs up into your esophagus, and it burns your esophagus till it turns into the texture of the exterior of your cheek. If you would feel where a man's beard would grow, that's about the texture of what the inside of my esophagus that was diagnosed with Barrett's was. Now, if you take your finger and reach inside and feel the texture of the inside of your cheek, that's the texture it should be. They told me that if I keep burning a burn, it creates carcinogens, cancer's the next state. Watch what I eat, watch my diet, do this, do that, do the other thing, and hope you don't get it. Well, I was eating food, and it'd get stuck, and I'd throw up, and I wasn't getting a calorie count. And I ended up procrastinating for about 8 months because I was scared of what it was, because I knew it was probably cancer.
Right.
I almost died on a cinnamon bun. It got stuck in my throat, and I had this trick with a water bottle. If I built up pressure, squeezed it hard, it would blow through and clear my throat, and I could gasp for air and breathe again. But unfortunately, with this cinnamon roll that was homemade out of the oven, fresh and hot, I didn't eat all day. My calorie counts were low. My proteins were low. I was losing weight like you wouldn't believe. And I was starving. So I'm trying to eat like a normal person and wondering why it's getting stuck and lodged. It felt like I didn't have enough saliva to allow the food to go through. Then I started noticing it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I had no option but to wither away to nothing or get it looked into. So I went and...
Let me pause real quick. And we'll get back to this, obviously. Yeah. Forgive me. We'll just put it that way.
No, never. Like,
if I gotta go, choking to death on a cinnamon bun is not the worst way.
Have you ever been held underwater against your will?
There's no cinnamon bun involved in that scenario.
I'm not saying cinnamon buns aren't good, but ultimately drowning is suffocating to death. And when
sure.
your airway's blocked with a cinnamon bun, you feel helpless.
I can imagine.
And you get overwhelmed with, I do anyways, like claustrophobia.
Huh?
It was like my throat was claustrophobic.
Huh.
And I was bringing it to levels of anxiety and panicness that were surreal to me. And if it didn't hit me as personal as it did, there'd be a lot more humor in what you just said. And it's funny about how we're looking at it, and I understand the importance of a good sense of humor. And I just wanted to take the seriousness front and center for a minute, and you'll never catch me serious. If anybody is out there and they're facing something as serious as I was, and you don't know what to do, the worst thing to do is nothing. I always thought that if I got diagnosed with a death sentence or something with a 21% survival rate, I would see how fast I could swim to Youngstown, if you can find the humor in that joke.
All right.
It's a little dark, but I think some people a week, some in 12 minutes. With that being said, I got back together with my high school sweetheart, and when you love somebody and you think you're going to leave them behind in a world that's just hard to get through, you have no choice but to survive with them when you love someone more than you do yourself. But
Sure.
I always thought I'd take my last walk into the woods and party it out for the last 3 days. But
Right.
fortunately, the universe had different plans and rewired my brain to let me know that I had to rely on prayer, meditation. I had to learn nutrition. I had to learn the importance of calories.
How much has your diet changed?
Right now, I eat all day, every day,
All right.
small meals. My goal is to hit 100 grams of protein and 2,000 calories a day to maintain 200 pounds. If I don't get the calories, I'm going to lose weight.
Are you 200 pounds?
I am.
You honestly, you don't look like you're 200
I'm
pounds.
6'4".
Well, all right. That'll explain it.
And if I
I
show
didn't realize you were so tall.
Yeah, well, I was 6'4". I broke my neck in 2003 in a motor vehicle accident. I lost about an inch and a half in height. So I range anywhere from 6'2" to 6'4",
Gotcha.
depending on if I'm standing up. But the annular tear is what it's called, which is a squish disc. If you picture all the discs in your neck are jelly donuts, mine shot the jelly out, and I lost an inch that way.
Gotcha.
So I found this home remedy if anybody's dealing with that type of issue, that if you take pectin, which is made for canning jams and jellies, the home remedy is 3 to 4 tablespoons twice a day mixed into, I use white grape.
So you're just putting the jelly back in the donut.
Yeah, well, it lubricates everything. Yeah. Pretty much. The guy from Alabama turned me onto that, and I thought it was bullshit. And whether if it's a placebo or it works, I only do it when it hurts.
Right.
It mentally works for me. And I think it works because I believe it does.
So when's the last time you were at a doctor?
As far as dentist, doctor, Roswell, personal.
Roswell, I guess.
Roswell, I sent them a message a few days ago, but I'd say it was probably about 5 weeks ago. I will show you the scar. This is, whenever this heals up, will be, like 6 weeks. But that's where the chemo port was that put the chemo into my heart.
And so as of 5 weeks ago, where do things stand?
I'm, as of December 26, 2024, I am cancer-free. Once I make it a year, which I did, they removed the port because now I can't get a port in on the right side for like 3 years. So if the cancer comes back, they got to go in on the left side, and that involves traveling through your arteries further into your heart.
Right.
Because your heart's located closer to where I showed you the scar. So before I could celebrate, ring the bell, and be like happy-go-lucky, like when they removed the cancer and I lived, I went through this thing like, everybody says, I can't trust nobody. You ever let yourself down? Sucks, right? Like you want to be to work at a certain time and you oversleep, and
right.
You're driving there and nobody's as hard on you as you are.
Oh,
you
yeah.
really care about who you are,
I get more mad at myself than anybody else, pretty much ever. Yeah.
Exactly, and to me that matters. I'm gonna. What I learned from playing cornhole, I know you touched base a little on that. I want to throw this out there, and all these things tie together, and they help me become who you're meeting.
Right.
It ain't like I just play cornhole and I work and like all those things together create a way of me to think, and that's what makes me an individual that's unique from everyone else.
Right.
Just like you got your hobbies, your personal life, your work life, and somehow they all intertwine together to make you who you are.
Well, and so the neat thing is, I've always thought, so you've got people that know you from cornhole.
Yeah.
You've got people that know you from driving cab. You've got people that know you from comedy. You've got people that know you from high school. Those are 4 different people.
Yeah, well...
And I don't mean the 4 different people that you know. I mean, you are 4 different people to them.
Yeah.
I
love where this is going.
If those people all had to describe who Dan Harrington was, they would have 4 different people in mind.
Can I give you in-depth, just once-over of what I just interpreted by you saying?
Of course.
You just mentioned 4 different groups of people that know who Dan Harrington is.
Right.
If they didn't know by name, and they all sat in a room and gave a description of who I am to them, would they ever figure out that they're talking about the same
Exactly.
person? You just described religion.
Yeah.
Every one of them's talking about the same God in my mind. And every one of them is right for believing what they believe.
Right.
And that's where a big phrase of mine comes from, whether if you think you can or you can't. I agree with you. And that's why I knew I was beating it.
All right, so without getting too religious, I'm going to keep it very vague. No, don't worry about it. I'm going to keep it very vague.
Thank you.
I'm not a religious person, but I do like a lot of tenets of pretty much all major religions. And all major religions basically go down to the golden rule. Be a nice person.
I was going to go with thou shalt not be an asshole.
Just be good. Exactly. And it's interesting how we've got all of these major religions, you know, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, and obviously, you know, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are branches of the same religion to a degree. But, you know, then you throw in all of the other religions, and they all basically come down to just be nice to one another. And somehow or another, despite the fact that most people in the world consider themselves a member of one of those religions, we can't seem to figure out how to do that.
I think in Cornwall, if I'm throwing bad and you're throwing good and we're partners and you're better than me, instantly I want to tell you I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. I accidentally knocked their bag in.
Right.
All you expect from me for not being as well of a player as you are is you just want me to get 4 bags on the board, and if I can do that, I'm going to block. They might push me in. We can get lucky. But if they're on the floor, that's a dead bag. You're out 3 points if the other guy sinks it.
Right.
So with that being said, when I'm playing with somebody who's not as well as me, the advice that I give them is, don't be sorry to me. Work on your game and be sorry that you're not playing as well as you did yesterday.
Right.
If you work on yourself and I work on myself, we're going to win. Maybe not this game.
Right.
It might take 3 weeks of you working on you and we end up being partners again. Now we can pull it off. But if you're just sorry because you're not playing up to my game, you're never going to play my game because all I'm doing is working on being better than I was yesterday.
And if I'm better than I was yesterday and you're better than you were yesterday, we're still both better, but I'm still going to be better than you. You know?
Right. Like in the end, as long as we're working on each other, our teams are not going to do anything but improve.
My fiance's uncle made us really nice Buffalo Bills cornhole.
Nice. I like it.
Tables? What do you call them?
Oh, we call them boards. Cornhole boards.
All right. Very nice cornhole boards as a wedding gift, and I don't know if I'm supposed to know that yet, but I've seen them, and they're very, very, very cool. I'm very much looking forward to playing.
What I'd like to do, I don't know if it's something you're capable of doing, but I'd like to play with you a little bit. And
Hell yeah!
I'd like you to come out and show you where I roll, and we got different brackets. We got a B League and an A League. And
well, I know you were telling me about the cornhole app, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't know, and this is how you get involved. You can download the Scoreholio.
Right.
I advise you going and figuring out who you know that plays.
Right.
Or, I mean, I wouldn't suggest just going in because you signed up and you want to show off. People do all the time.
Sure.
But here's the thing. If you walk in and you're playing against me and I'm not that great, I'm just good when I'm good. I'm not consistent. I don't put the work in. I don't put the time in. You know, it's like shooting pool. If you play every day, you're going to be great. If
sure.
You play once a year.
Well, I think that, you know, to your point, one of the things that keeps people from doing these sort of things is a fear of looking stupid, and sometimes you just got to look stupid so that you can look good later.
It kind of gives me where I got my backbone to do stand-up comedy,
right?
And it also gives me my backbone. My motive in life, when I wanted to do something so bad, but I didn't have the nerve to do it, I'd do it drunk. And then I'd say, well, screw it. It ain't that bad. I did it once and lived through it. Let's do it a time I'll remember doing.
Right. Are you still drinking?
No, it's been 6 months or better.
That's why you're losing all the weight.
I wasted a lot of my life when I thought I had all the time in the world on partying and seeing how tore out the frame I could get.
Right.
I was addicted to addiction. And luckily, I didn't need any meetings because when it became a problem, I just dropped that addiction and picked up a new one.
I feel you.
You know, whether I'm gambling or smoking or whatever the case is. But I found that I'm really good at making bad choices, and drinking was always a bad choice for me. Alcoholism ran in my family, and that's about all that runs in my family. So once I found out that there is a way to achieve to be who you were created to be, and you don't have to find a substance to make up for not having a guide or knowing how to become who you were created to be. You know,
Right.
I tried being all these other people, a tough guy, passive guy, and at the end of the day, they were all taken. So I had to figure out who I am and become.
I have trouble seeing you being a tough guy.
When I say tough guy, I mean everybody's got a brain, right?
In theory.
There's an answer to every problem you're given.
Sure.
And there's the right way and there's plan B. I always thought about plan B first. And now I try to do everything the right way.
Gotcha.
But the definition of a right way is if somebody bites you, the Bible says to turn the other cheek, I guess.
Right. I don't think it was about biting per se, but I feel...
the feel of a pinch. Or,
right, I got you.
Like if somebody steals $100 from you, taking $200 from them don't make it right.
Right.
But letting them feel how you felt might be what they need to open their eyes. Or the proper way, I think, is to hand it back to the universe and just ask them if you could be a fly on a wall when they get even.
Right.
And get to see first.
And the universe does usually get even. Except
out,
I do feel like there are some people that are just immune to karma. I don't get it.
Maybe they were put here to teach us our own karma.
I don't know.
Our self-centeredness, making full return, and maybe they were created just to be a demon. And I don't understand it all totally.
Right.
But I understand that whatever I put out, I'm going to feel tenfold back.
All right, backing up. You mentioned the stand-up thing.
Yeah.
And I want to get that in before we run out of time, because I don't know if you remember how I told you how much time we have.
So
we're coming up on it.
Beautiful. One of the reasons why I did the stand-up thing, I want to get this in, is because I'm afraid of failure. All right? The fear of failure stopped me from being productive in every aspect of my life. Think back to high school when you want to talk to that girl and ask her out on a date. You got every shot in the world, right?
Right.
Why didn't you ask her? Because you're afraid of no. You don't want rejection.
Sure.
So you just
and it gets worse as you get older.
Right. Well, that's what was happening in comedy. Everybody's saying you should try stand-up. You should try stand-up. And
it scared you, but you did it anyway.
Well, I was afraid I would bomb.
Right.
So what made me do it was, at least if I bomb, I just did it because I'm afraid of failure, so I went there to fail. And I didn't fail. I rocked it.
Right.
And then I got sick, and I do these things called soup bones. I'll just write something down, and I'll start off with something I know is funny, but I need a storyline, so then I'll live life for a while with the joke twist I already figured out. Now I need the story to build up to it, and sooner or later, real life gives me the story that makes it even funnier than what
right.
I learned the joke. So that's how I build my soup bones, is I find the humor first,
right,
and the story second to build on.
Gotcha.
And then they got recall jokes, which would be if I tell you something now and then
towards the end of the set,
back into it and get that humor back in. There's a lot of different things, but ultimately my advice is figure out who you were to be created and blessed enough to have an existence here, and figure out where you fit in. Because let's be honest, if you didn't have this, there's no way I could talk to whoever's listening.
Right.
So by you being obedient to who your calling is, it actually brought me in. We're going to call you the knee, and I happen to be the hip, and now the toes are getting oxygen through the blood that you allowed by inviting me on here to introduce me to the toes, because you're being obedient to who you were. Now, if you weren't, the toes would never hear what they need to hear for the oxygen to live. And I think if we all were obedient to who we were created to be, and that means dropping the ego and being less self-centered, and understanding where that good old-fashioned customer service comes from and where it went. And I think if we could touch back into who and why we were created to be here, I think that the body of us all would benefit substantially. And I think that we would make the creator of the universe happy by being more considerate of the hip and the toes when we're the knee than we are about the function of the knee.
Right.
If you follow.
I do. So I got one more thing that I want to touch on before we sign off.
Okay.
So, and it kind of ties together with everything, really. So, with the stand-up, obviously you've got this wealth of life experience to draw from. But we're recalling back to the beginning of the interview where I met you because you worked downstairs at A+.
Yes.
And I have to imagine that a lot of those conversations that you have had over the years gives you great fodder for bits. Do you have any really, really good stories? Obviously, I don't want names.
I'll give you the first one. I did my training, and I was set loose and allowed to sign in and work whatever area of the city I wanted. I was working public for regular call-in taxi service. I got a call in one project area. The lady gets in my cab. She said, take me over to this project area. I got to get there before my baby daddy leaves for work, gets home from work. So I minded my own business. I wrote down a job. I cleared with her. I let the dispatcher know where I was cleared at. He gave me a pickup at the opposite end of the same projects that I dropped off at. The guy gets in. He says, you got to get me home to my wife, to my baby mama, before she goes to her man's house. And I said, well, where are you going? And he gave me the address of where I just picked up the last fare. And I put together that if they were just open in their relationship, they'd have one hell of open relationship.
Right.
They're just trying so hard to be scandalous that they're missing the joy that maybe they were created to be swingers and don't know it.
Right.
But it was at that moment I knew that I had 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It's amazing what you get to see when you have a clean heart and you're just a fly on a wall.
Sure. All right, Dan, we are unfortunately out of time.
No, that was great, man.
But I really appreciate you being here, man.
Can I get one quick thing?
Of course, man.
You asked me about the Score Holio app.
Yeah.
I didn't go into details. It's kind of like a Facebook app, but you sign in, you create something, you pay a couple extra bucks. And it's got everything. You can do billiards, you can do darts, you can do bocce, you can do shuffleboard. There's a list of about 15 things. Create the profile, get on there, click on, figure out, maybe just go walk in. Maybe you could say, I never played before, I'm interested. They might tell you where to go and practice to get 4 on the board and then come on out and enjoy your time. But if you don't put at least 2 to 4 on the board every time, you're just going to leave feeling like you let someone down.
Right. All right. Daniel Harrington, live in studio here at All Western New York Radio. We'll be right back.
That I get of my people, whether they black, African, Asian, Indian, Caucasian, Puerto Rican, Latin, man or woman, know what's happening. The answer is not itself, but who's asking is love that I get of my people, whether they black, African, Asian, Indian, Caucasian, Puerto Rican, Latin, man or woman, know what's happening. The answer is not itself. I said these kids put down the guns and blunt and pick up a book. The media got you shook, betraying all of us like husbands and crooks. The most of you took to take a look in the mirror and see the crooked image of the face of wickedness took. Giving the truth is just an educated brother from the east side of Buffalo, revolutionary searching for change. With a pocket full of change, you better weight around my neck like a chain, but never refrain from playing these in your brain. Saying you know I'm the new black superhero here, delete the people from destruction with something that's constructive and no boss lethal is true. High power diesel fillers in the face of equal trust. I'm hustling in the streets, product that's legal with glue. Packaging diesel and clean, the cost is zero consumption. You want kid, I ain't bluffing, I'm not a wheel constructor with something that's indestructive and no boss lethal for new. Black superhero when I make it say I got knowledge that I get of my people, whether they black, African, Asian, Indian, Caucasian, Puerto Rican, Latin, man or woman, know what's happening. The answer is not itself, but who's asking? It's love that I get of my people, whether they black, African, Asian, Indian, Caucasian, Puerto Rican, Latin, man or woman, know what's happening. The answer is not itself, but who's asking?
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by Genghis Khan.
Joining us in studio for Sports in Episode 3, it's Drew McGrath back again. Hey, Drew, what's going on, man?
Well, not much, man. What's up?
Not a lot. So we're going to talk about a little bit of sports today, but I feel like there's not a lot of sports, so we're going to branch off. But obviously, sports-wise in Western New York, the Bandits lost Game 2 to the Saskatchewan Rush the other night, hosting Game 3 in Buffalo on Saturday. I know that, obviously, lacrosse isn't nearly as big as, really any of the other sports. Nonetheless, winning a championship at home is kind of cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what is it? Three, just 3 games. You got to win 2 out of 3.
Yeah. So they won the first game, and then they lost to the Saskatchewan Rush. It was 11-10, and so now they come home and hope to clinch it, which would be their 3rd in a row.
That's an impressive feat. Not a lot of teams can go 3 in a row.
In any league, really. I mean, it is a big deal. I mean, even if you're talking, Little League Baseball, 3 in a row is a big deal. Especially when you got turnover and you got, contract disputes and what have you. Speaking of contracts and sticking with sports, you sent me something earlier that I did not have a chance to look at. The Bills pick is willing to work for peanuts, it said, or something along those lines.
Well, he was just saying that he's taking less money than. He doesn't really get a choice though, because the rookie scale is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically he's not really worried about the money. He'd rather win a championship and bring a championship here. So
be nice to see.
Yeah, it's a good mentality, I guess.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, since last time you were here, the Bills did officially release their schedule. No huge shocks.
No, I did think, though, that we were going to get a holiday game, though, and we didn't. So that was the only difference.
But, I mean, five primetime games. If I remember correctly, we're only playing, 5 games at 1 o'clock. It seems like we play less 1 o'clock games every year.
Yeah. We have a couple. I think we have, 2 or 3 games in, either the 4 o'clock window as well.
Right.
So, yeah. So,
yeah,
which is the major audience time.
Right. And then, of course, primetime games, at least 5, maybe 6, because that last game could be flexed. Well, the last game doesn't even have a time on it. It's to be determined.
Right, because those are either Saturday or Sunday, and basically, if it's going to matter.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't.
I don't think it will because we're playing the Jets.
Right.
So I don't think. The only thing it might do is cause a seed thing,
right?
But I don't think it's going to be worth enough to move it to a prime time.
I'm really hoping that we're resting everybody that game, but that's just me. Well, no, it's probably not just me. It's probably a lot of people who think of that.
Yeah.
So
there's been I've seen a bunch of people that are doing predictions, and they're thinking Buffalo's going to go in at least 13-4 or 14-3.
I saw something that said that the Bills are favored every game. Is that right?
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before?
Not that I know of. I think Kansas City did it one year.
Yeah.
Possibly.
They go to the Super Bowl that year?
I don't know. They've been to the Super Bowl every year, basically.
Yeah. All right. Now, just before the show started, I mentioned to you the lights on the casino are fixed. The cascading LED lights. They started to go out a few years ago, and it's been kind of a bugaboo for me because the casino, of course, makes millions upon millions of dollars, and I've always thought it was kind of janky that they didn't have their lights working. But now they're back up and working, and they look very cool. It has definitely transformed the night sky.
Okay.
So that's one new Niagara Falls thing. We got a new Chick-fil-A coming.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so what's your I sent you the thing about Pete Rose and this whole thing with being now that he's dead and now that he could be possibly voted into the Hall of Fame. What's your take?
I think he should be eligible.
Well, he is eligible. It's just now the senior committee.
That's my take. I think he should be eligible. Do I think he should be in? I really don't.
Okay, so I think he should be in because as a player, regardless of what he did as a manager,
right,
you're not voting him in as a manager. You're voting him in as a player.
I think, honestly.
And they're talking, well,
I think
baseball, to me, though, they're always saying about, stories and, how can you tell the story of baseball? Well, this guy leads the league in hits all time.
Right.
In all major league, in all baseball.
Playing for the Cincinnati Reds, which is...
Cincinnati Reds, Philadelphia Phillies, and Montreal Expos he played for. And he played 5 different positions and he was a 4-time All-Star or whatever like that. But it's just like, if you're going to say you want to be able to tell the story,
I get that. So
that's where it's like
my reasoning is, I feel like, and this is unfair to him, but sometimes life is unfair. I feel like his window's up. You know, I feel like voting a player into the Hall of Fame from something they did, you know, what are we going, 20 years ago? It just, I don't know, it doesn't seem right to me. Because there, since then, have been so many other players that get overlooked every year. And I know, obviously, everybody can't get into the Hall of Fame, but I feel like in the amount of time since he left baseball, there have been more deserving players to get in.
Well,
so I just...
Baseball has 3 different committees.
Okay.
They have, like, the baseball writers, which is, like, the normal. Then they have another one, and then they have the senior committee.
Okay.
And senior committee, I think, is like you got to be at least 15 years off, or done from playing,
right,
or whatever, to be eligible for that. So yeah, so it's 3 different committees. I think football has the same thing. I think they have like a senior committee as well, and everything like that. So
what committee votes on the Hall of Fame?
They all do, but it's just different years.
Gotcha.
So, like, the senior, so the one he would be eligible for to be on the ballot is the senior, which is 2027 in December. Now, if it's 16, you got to have 12, so you got a 75% vote. If he does get elected, he doesn't go in until 2028.
Gotcha.
So,
I don't know. I just feel like his time has passed. I feel like there's other people more deserving at this point.
Well, right, but there are players that are more deserving.
I'm glad that they lifted the ban. I do think that they should have lifted the ban. I'm happy about that, but if it were a one-person vote, I would vote no.
But now is also the thing is they were profiting off of him too at like special appearances and things like that. So it's kind of like and now with all these sports books and everything like that, to kind of like be like, okay, well, kind of like
I feel
kicking yourself in the teeth in that aspect.
I feel you. Yeah. So my take is the ban being lifted is a good thing, but I don't know. I would still vote no.
Just to me though, the reasoning for it though, it was like, well, because these people are dead that they can't affect the game anymore. Like that was kind of a weird reason,
right?
And now it's like Joe Jackson was like he's been dead since like 1952 or 1953 or something like that.
Right.
But there was this band this whole time, but he's been dead this whole time. So like, it just doesn't.
Fill me in because I don't remember why was Shoeless Joe banned?
It was called the Black Sox scandal.
All right.
Yeah.
The World
Series. The whole
Series.
White Sox. There was like 5 people or something like that, 5 or 6 guys that got banned for throwing the World Series.
Right. I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, he was one of the guys.
Was it like 1919? Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. All right.
And no, he was on the ballot twice.
Okay. And then they banned him?
So I don't know when he was banned, but he's been on the Hall of Fame ballot twice.
Interesting.
And he got 2 votes each time. And it was I think it was 1937 and 1947. So like, but I think one of the commissioners way after that did the ban. So,
before we move on from sports, is your question sports related?
I gave you the question last week.
We're just going to go every other week?
You were supposed to come up with the question.
I have one.
Okay.
I thought we were both doing one.
Yeah, so I did the one last week, but I never gave my answer. So my answer to that is, I would probably
remind people what the question was again.
Like, okay, so it was would you rather have a championship or be the superstar player and individual awards and the money and the acclaim and the fame? Personally, because a championship isn't guaranteed.
Show me the money.
Well, I would rather take the accolades because at least I could have that chance to be in the Hall of Fame or whatever like that. And now that is lifetime.
Right.
A championship is lifetime as well, but it's a ring where
Right.
this would be a bust and everything like that, and it's a plaque and it's a whole ceremony and celebration of your career.
Gotcha. My question is not sports related, so I'm going to hold off for just a couple minutes. But sticking with sports and sticking with, MVPs, if you will, the Bills' scheduled release, a lot of people thought it was brilliant. I thought it was okay.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. I didn't think it was bad. It was kind of funny, but I didn't think it was as good as years past.
The only thing that, to me, though, that was kind of the bummer part of the whole thing was
that he didn't say go Bills?
Well, no, that he just held up a piece of paper with the schedule.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like,
yeah.
But he said go Josh Allen or something
Right,
like that.
That was funny, but, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was, personally, I thought it was a little lackluster. But
probably could have did better. But they're probably going to wait till, and make a big deal about it when the schedule comes out next year for the opening of the new stadium.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine that'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
So. All right, so we started to talk about local businesses. And I mentioned the new Chick-fil-A that's going to be on the Boulevard by Target.
Okay.
It's in the same, the same plaza where there's a Starbucks and a I broke you fix or you broke I, however that works.
Yeah, so that's over by
kind of across the street from Dunkin' Donuts. Kind of, like kitty corner.
It's it's Factory Outlet.
Yeah.
Factory Outlet. Yeah.
So there's that. There's apparently going to be another new brewery on Fall Street. This just came out the other day in Business First.
Wow, okay.
So that's kind of cool. We got the new brewery on Military Road, which we have yet to go to. We got to get there. I've heard good things.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen anything or anybody talk about it on Facebook or anything like that. But
yeah, so there's supposed to be a new brewery opening up on Old Fall Street, and I want to say it was this year. But who knows? There was, I don't know if you remember talking about this with me, there was supposed to be a brewery that was going to open up on Niagara Street, kind of across from the casino parking garage.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
And they had a big press conference, all sorts of fanfare, and nothing. I don't know if that project just died or...
I think it died probably because the casino killed it.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be smart for them to do. I would think... personally, that the casino would want to have as many other businesses here as possible, just for other draws. And, we used to, somewhat regularly, especially for Bills games, go to Players, corner of Niagara and 3rd. And
Niagara and 4th.
Niagara and 4th, sorry.
Yeah.
And now, we were never late-night people there.
Right.
But I do know that the late-night crowd from Players, when Players closed, they went to the casino. And I don't know that those people would have just gone to the casino if it weren't for Players. So I would think that the casino would want other draws to get people close to the casino.
You would think, but also, too, though, a lot of the casino, is based off of drinking.
Sure.
So, if these people are at the brewery across the street,
right,
it's less money that they would be able to get from alcohol sales as well. So they're probably looking at it in that way.
Most people at the casino are drinking for free or close to it.
Right.
Except
for that one bar.
And if you're already drunk when you get to the casino, you're already making bad decisions.
Yeah.
They don't got to liquor you up first.
Yeah. So I think that might have had something to do with it, though. They were probably looking at it like that, and then also the traffic that it might cause on Niagara Street, and and because that area, right around the casino, all those roads are really nice.
Yeah.
Because they take care of it.
Right.
So that's where all the money is.
Right.
So I don't know. It's no one. I don't think anybody's really going to find out, or that information is ever going to be really told.
Right.
So
it's kind of a shame. Because personally, I feel like we need more. The city's kind of a big deal. Drew and I go to the casino on occasion, and when we're there, we meet people from all over the world, and they come to Niagara Falls. And Niagara The casino is not the destination. Niagara Falls is the destination, and then once they're here, they end up at the casino.
Right.
So you would think that there would just be as many other options as possible. I've joked to you on a few occasions that, like, I wish there were more restaurants that didn't serve Indian food. Not that there's anything wrong with Indian food, but like 9.5 out of 10 restaurants in Niagara Falls are Indian buffets.
Yeah, it's a very huge culture.
Yeah,
it's
a very large part of the market for sure.
Right. Yeah. You know, there's changes that still need to be made and everything like that to definitely improve this area, but.
All right, so this isn't your question, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
On this note. So, you're going to open a bar and restaurant in Niagara Falls. What's your theme? What do you do? Do you have a theme?
I think I would just open just standard.
All right.
And then take suggestions.
Right.
Like after a certain amount of time.
I feel like we need a sports bar. I feel like we don't have like a genuine, legit sports bar.
Well, Players is considered a sports bar.
Yeah. And I mean, they did have the OTB in there.
Yeah.
But I mean bigger, grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, nothing wrong with Players.
Right.
But it was a small place.
Right. Now,
and I say was because is it open?
New place on Military though.
David's 716 whatever.
Yeah.
It used to be David's Hoagie, and then it was David's. Anyway, yeah.
I think that's probably the new considered sports bar.
All right, and again, that's another place that we haven't been to. That's been on our list of places that we need to go, and love it. But that's Military Road.
Right.
I mean downtown. I mean here.
I don't know if it's sustainable downtown.
No?
Well, if you think about it,
you just think the casino takes all the money?
Well, yeah, right now. But also, even when I used to go out on 3rd, when all the bars were on 3rd and everything like that, there was a lot of issues and with behavior and people and everything.
Falls chicks, man.
But yeah, so I can see the.
I don't know if you guys could hear Drew's eyes rolling, but you may have been able to.
Yeah. So I don't know if the casino is really trying to have too much of that,
right?
Because now they might not so-called in quotes not want that crowd
right
coming in.
I gotcha.
So I think that's a huge issue as well that they're going to be against.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, though.
All right. So I do want to get to my question, though. And so it is an open-ended question, and it is not sports-related.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a hypothetical. You are having child.
I'm having a child?
You are having a child.
Okay.
Drew, you're going to be a dad. Congratulations.
Okay.
But there's a new law in New York State.
Okay.
You have to name your kid after a community in the region in which you live.
Oh,
so you're going to have a kid, boy or girl, doesn't matter, don't care. You got to name it after a city, town, or village in Western New York. You can think about it, and we'll come back.
Isn't there an area downtown Buffalo considered like Chelsea area?
I don't think there's a Chelsea district. Hold on. Buffalo does have Chelsea, Buffalo. No, there's a Chelsea in New York.
I knew that.
I don't think there's a Chelsea in Buffalo though.
Huh.
Buffalo neighborhoods. All right, let's see. Well, South Buffalo, that's a horrible name. Downtown, Allentown, Elmwood, East Aurora. Aurora's not a bad name.
I guess.
Williamsville. William's a great name.
No, it's not.
Springville. Hurdle. Orchard Park. 5 points. Blackrock, probably not a good name for a kid. Fillmore, Clarence, Hamburg.
Clarence is a name.
Yeah, if your kid is an angel. Hamburg, Parkside, Kenmore, Larkinville. Larkin was a pretty good last name. Could make a decent first name. Broadway, Fillmore. No. Grant. I got a nephew named Grant.
Lancaster. That's an
Old First Ward. That'd be a weird name.
Yeah.
This is my son, Old First Ward. University Heights, Gowanda. I've always felt like Gowanda sounds like a name of a sexually transmitted disease. Niagara, Tonawanda, and it just circles around from there. There are, of course, others. You got Wilson, you got Lockport, you got Medina. Medina could be a good name for a girl. Amherst. I don't think Amherst works. Depew. Only if your kid's a skunk.
Yeah.
Depew would work as a middle name. Peppy Depew.
Yeah. Yeah, that would. I think if it's a girl, it would probably have to be like Aurora.
All right. It's a Disney princess name.
For a boy, well, Allentown.
Sure.
You know, so I guess if that's
Alan Joshua McGrath.
No. But I think
Alan Kelly McGrath.
No, definitely not.
Drew hates Jim Kelly, by the way. I don't know if that's ever come up, but we'll get into it another time.
Yeah, there's really not that many options, really. Like if you really think.
So here's mine, and it works for a boy or a girl. Lewiston. Lewiston. The whole thing, Lewiston. It's my son, Lewiston. I like it. I think it sounds like.
How would a girl though?
I think it works either way.
I don't know. Like,
listeners, what do you think? Does Lewiston work for a name for a boy and or for a girl? What would you do? What would you name? So, new law in New York State, you got to name your kid after a community nearby where you live. I don't know why it's a new law, but you know, there's always new stupid laws, and so I'm inventing this one. What would you name your kid? Drew's going with Aurora for a girl and Alan for a boy. Both very decent names. Kind of bland, though. I like Lewiston. Now, I'm 50, and my fiance cannot have kids, which is fine. I have 2 adult daughters. I don't want more kids. So I'm fine with never having a child named Lewiston. But if I had to have a child, had to name it after a Western New York community, I like Lewiston as a name.
Okay. Remind me to let her know that.
All right. If you ever see her again.
Yeah.
I might not let you ever see her again.
Right. That might be upcoming divorce.
After, yeah, Drew would tell her stories, and next thing you know, I'm homeless. So, all right. Believe it or not, we're actually running. We're not out of time. We're headed in that direction. Were there things you wanted to talk about this week that we didn't get to yet?
No, I think when we were talking, it was just about we were gonna touch base with the Pete Rose thing.
Right.
But other than that, man, no. And honestly, for the next probably a few weeks, it's probably just gonna be just random.
Sure.
Because there's really not a lot going on, so.
Sports-wise, things are pretty quiet. Caps got bounced. That's kind of a shame. Leafs got bounced. That's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
The building, by the way, behind us, was talking to one of the guys that runs Rainbow Air today, and he was telling me that they were originally wanting to have it open by the end of this month, but red tape, politics, whatever, things taking longer than they expect. I think he said June 23rd now. They're looking at a soft open.
Okay.
But that's going to be really cool back there once it's done.
Yeah, when's the official open?
I don't know. Maybe July 1st?
Probably.
But, for those of you who are unaware, All Western New York Radio is located in the Niagara Business Center, which is the old Carborundum building. It's the corner of Buffalo Avenue and, what is that, 11th? 16th?
Atchison?
Yeah, Atchison, if you want. So on this side, it's Atchison. And behind the building, so a couple of years ago, Rainbow Air bought the building, mainly because they wanted the property behind it. So the property behind the building, they built this huge building and a landing pad for the helicopter. But inside the building is supposed to be They're going to have a helicopter in there. There's going to be like a museum. There's going to be a restaurant. There's going to be a gift shop. I'm really looking forward to it being open. And the guy from Rainbow Air, who I was talking to today, keeps offering to like show me around. And I'm always too busy. So today I was like, dude, you really got to show me around. So he's like, now I'm swamped. He's like, now we got to wait. So, but eventually I'll get in there, take some pictures, and post them to All Western New York News. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be really cool. Yeah. My only concern, and I was concerned about this when they originally bought the building a couple years ago. No, the noise of the helicopter. So I do commercial narration for a living. I talk for a living. And I am mildly concerned that the sound of the helicopter is going to make my life hell. But
it could be difficult recording.
Yeah. But it's on the other side of the building. They're coming in from the river. They're never flying over the building, and they will never be out the windows behind me. So there's a decent amount of separation, and this room it's not soundproof, but it is sound treated.
Yeah, so you might be all right.
I'm hoping to be all right. If not, I'm just going to have to record everything when they're not flying helicopters, which basically is late at night, which is when I do most of my work anyway.
Right.
But, yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Could make the podcast difficult, though, if the helicopters are going up and down while I'm trying to interview people.
Oh, yeah, but we could always, have, special events or something, like every time it goes up or something like that, hey, yeah, we can make a game out of it.
We could. We certainly could. Yeah. All right. Drew, we're out of time.
All right.
Thanks for coming. We will see you again next week.
Yeah, definitely.
So now you got.
Well, next week is Memorial Day, and also the day after your wedding. Are we still?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. One thing I do know.
Sorry, ladies, he is off the market.
Well, yeah, I'm officially off the market. So my musical guest next week is Skyway. My main guest next week is Stefan Mihailu.
Oh, okay. I remember him.
Then we got you for sports, and then me talking about whatever. So I do know that the show is set. We just got to figure out when to get everything taken care of, because I'm probably not going to want to work the day after my wedding. I'm probably going to want to stay home and have the sex. I've waited this long. Now I feel like I deserve it. So
I'm not touching that.
Well, I mean, so I'm not married. So as a good Christian boy, I'm not having the sex. I've had sex twice in my life, which is why I have 2 kids, and I'm really looking forward to time number 3. I think Drew just choked on his tongue. All right. That's going to end the show for today. Well, not going to end the show, but it is going to end this portion of the show. When we come back, we're going to have Voyager, who won 7 All Western New York awards or something crazy stupid like that. But first, we're going to play a song. On the other side of the song, Voyager, and that'll do it for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget the question. So you got to name your kid after a Western New York community. What do you name it? Let us know via Twitter or Blue Sky or Threads or Facebook, or just email me or send up smoke signals. However you want to do it. Let us know. We'll be right back.
You don't know the weight of your words. When you cry wolf, your voice is the only one that's heard. But I thought I knew better. But I thought I'd done my research. You don't know the strength of your tongue. We're slaying worse sex with that cut. That night that you said your last goodbye. Thought that I beat you to the busted side.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by Conway Twitty.
All right, joining us in studio is All Western New York award winners, Voyager. And I feel like they won like 48 different awards. I'm not really sure what all they won, but they won a lot. So from the left, we've got AJ, then we got Rachel, then we got John. And we're going to start with John and go in the opposite direction.
Thank God.
And really, yes, we'll let John be the guinea pig. Then you'll know what to say, what not to say.
That's perfect, actually.
So we're going to start with John, and basically, I just want to know, first of all, before we even get to introductions, congratulations on all those awards.
Thank you.
You guys, from my perspective, came out of nowhere and then won everything.
We work in silence.
So what I want to do is I want to introduce you all, and then we'll just see where it goes. So, John, pleasure.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice
I'm
to meet
John. I play drums, obviously, with Voyager, and I'm also kind of the admin guy as well. So, we like to talk a lot about, we all have our own roles in this band, and so mine is definitely more of the admin, analytical type one. I do most of the booking and management, and just blessed to be doing this with AJ and Rachel.
Right. So, where do you live, or where are you from?
I'm from Grand Island. I live in Kenmore right now.
Gotcha. All right. Rach?
Hey.
Is Rach okay?
Rach is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Rach.
Great.
That's what AJ calls me. John sometimes. Depends on the mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically I am a singer-songwriter in the band.
Okay.
I can play instruments. I just haven't perfected them enough to bring them to the table yet. But
What do you play? What
so
do
I
you play
can-
badly?
I can, well, I wouldn't say bad, but I'm just not great. But ukulele and acoustic guitar and
I'm a
electric
horrible
guitar.
trumpet player. Just
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you can play though. Ish.
ish. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know how to play. I know scales. I can read music, but
Yeah.
I'm not,
More
I'm
than
not
I can.
good. I'm not. Yeah. My fiance is a band teacher.
Okay.
She plays everything.
I'm sure.
Disgusts me.
And
right?
probably so good at all of
and,
them.
and she is. And so, like, I have a trumpet at home, and she's like, we should play. I'm like, we should not play. Like, we should play something that we're the same at. Like, let's play Dr. Mario, because we were both the same level of Dr. Mario.
Right.
But she wants me to play music with her, and I'm like, no. And then I dabble at piano, but, like, not...
Yeah.
You know,
I know the notes and the chords in piano, but I don't...
I don't do chords at all, but I can
Oh.
play Christmas music. 'Cause
Oh.
Christmas music is all...
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's the C scale. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Well, anyways, so I just sing and I songwrite right now, and then I kind of run the social medias. AJ and I recently just kind of split off. Like, he's running TikTok a little more. I'm doing Instagram a little more.
TikTok is wild.
Yeah, and I don't want to deal with TikTok. Yeah, they're completely different, and so yeah, that's kind of what I do.
All right.
And I was actually born in Rochester,
Okay.
but I'm from like Pembroke area,
Okay.
and then I currently am in Williamsville area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we got a Willieville, we got a Kenmore.
Yep.
AJ.
Hey, I'm AJ Jabaji. I am one of the songwriters with Voyager, and my role is essentially writing some songs, whatever I'm feeling, I'll write about it, and then I have been recently taking on TikTok, which is fun and interesting.
I don't get the TikTok.
It's a social media
I'm
platform.
old,
that,
so
yeah.
I'm 50, and
Yeah.
I feel like TikTok is it's beyond. Again, people love it. My fiance constantly sends me things, and I'm like, I can't. I feel like whatever she sends me, I click on it, and that's not the video that I get. And then I'm like, why?
Yeah, that
why am I
happens to me
watching this?
too, and it like goes to a different video, and
Right.
then I'm like, why are you sending me that? And they're like, oh, that wasn't what I sent you.
Right, and
That
then,
doesn't make sense.
And so then, like, I feel like the videos never start and they never end. It's just the middle, and like the beginning and ending are cut off. I don't know.
Yeah, so
AJ's mastered it though. I'm not gonna lie, like he has a good hold on it.
it's nice. During the winter, we had some downtime from playing shows and writing and all of that. So I hopped on some calls with our distributor, Venice Music. They host these webinars and teach you all about social media, teach you about what to post, how frequently, not so much how frequently. And I've just been kind of taking those tips and tricks I've learned and essentially just throwing paint at the wall with TikTok, right? Something's got to stick. And
Has it stuck?
I mean, we're only 2 days in, right? I mean, I did like a little.
You
run in
literally,
the fall.
you literally just took this over.
Yeah, I literally just started taking over a couple days ago. Like they gave me the okay a long time ago.
Gotcha.
They gave me the okay back in the fall, and then I just didn't do anything with it.
So if I gave you the okay, do you mean they asked you to do it and you're like, no?
No, I actually, it was my idea. I was like, guys,
you.
let me take up TikTok, right? And they ended up saying, yeah, okay, let's do it. You got full reign, full control, do whatever you want on that app. And I'm just like, that's dangerous. Jokes aside, but all in all, with TikTok, it's a unique algorithm that I feel like everyone is still trying to crack. Completely different from Instagram, right? Like with TikTok, you want to be posting. I was talking with Stephen Babcock. He's another great Western New York songwriter. Definitely stream his music. He's got a song called "Drunk" coming out on Friday, so give that a stream too. But all in all, he's been kind of showing me or talking to me about TikTok and just the fact that Instagram kind of punishes you if you end up posting too much, whereas TikTok, like, they encourage you to post as much as you want, and like it's essentially going to push out your stuff into an algorithm.
I'm more of a voyeur with social media. I watch.
We are voyagers.
Yes. I watch a lot more than I post.
Yeah.
You know, Instagram literally maybe once a month. TikTok not at all. And TikTok I really don't watch, but Instagram, like I'll get sucked into an Instagram loop, and like 3 hours later, and I'm like, oh shit.
That's
like,
the thing, man.
It's like to take the dog out.
I'm chronically online. Like I tell you, I spend so much time scrolling, even when I'm not.
We're trying to work on that.
Right, and like it just got to a point where I'm just like, why am I continuing to scroll, hoping and wishing for things to happen, but yet I'm not putting in the work to.
Do you have favorite creators?
Who was that?
Do you have any favorite creators?
No, I mean I just follow a lot of local, not local artists. Some local artists. But I'm saying like whatever I see that I like, I just end up kind of taking that, and like that inspires me to kind of take that style of posting and apply it towards.
Can we all agree that Facebook is the worst?
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say.
But you have to have it. It's like
Facebook is for like a different crowd of people. Like I feel like TikTok is the youngest generation, Facebook is the oldest, and Instagram's kind of a mix, is what I've learned. Right. And I was gonna also mention, like John said, I think it was like a few months ago, we were at our band retreat and kind of going over some stuff, and in regards to like Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. And John mentioned that the Instagram posts, like whatever we do post, it's like quality over quantity. Mm-hmm. And like that stuck with me. I was like, that actually makes so much sense, because if we post and it's like a good post, we don't need to post all the time. Right. But on TikTok, what AJ is trying to say is like we do have to post consistently to pick up.
Because everybody else is posting so much.
Yes. So that's why it's kind of cool that AJ enjoys the TikTok scene. I enjoy the Instagram scene, and kind of Instagram just flows to Facebook. We just like automatically do that.
Right.
So we kind of handle all three social media platforms. Do we have YouTube too?
We have YouTube. Yeah, like you said, Facebook's kind of a necessary evil, because
that's exactly how I feel about it.
We do see like quite a bit of engagement on Facebook.
Right. I'm going to be honest, I miss MySpace. Did any of you guys have a MySpace?
Tom was my first and only friend.
Yeah. I loved MySpace. And then MySpace kind of got stupid, so everybody switched to Facebook, and then MySpace died. And then I guess there is a MySpace now, but it's not. It's
not the same.
Shit, I didn't know about that.
And so then everybody went to Facebook, and then I don't know, a few years ago, I felt like Facebook was all people that I knew, like in real life, but didn't want to have relationships with. And then like Twitter, I went to Twitter, and that was all people that like we had things in common, but I didn't actually know them. And now Twitter's I think it's just fascist mostly.
Well, it's like X now. It's like X.
Yeah.
So you can't even really call it Twitter, apparently. I still call it Twitter.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but it's mostly like I will go on there, and I have to use them for work.
Yeah.
So I'll go on there, and so like the All Western New York news feed, everything we post automatically post to Twitter.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, X. So every once in a while, I'll go and just check to make sure that everything's right. And then it's like things you might like, and it's like Mein Führer, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have ADHD and I get off tangent a lot. And so to answer your initial question of where I'm from, Pendleton.
We were coming back to it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. Pendleton.
Right.
Pendleton, and then now I live in Wheatfield, so it's about I live about 5 minutes from the air base.
All right, so you went to Starpoint.
Yeah, Starpoint. Yeah.
Right. I'm a Wheatfield grad myself.
Yeah, we had bring your tractor to school day.
Yeah. Star Farm does that.
Days. Star Farm, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll always say, oh yeah, Star Farm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Starpoint.
It's a nice country though.
I love it.
As Wheatfield, frankly.
It's so peaceful. I mean, I got a field out in my backyard that I just kind of look out to, and the farmer, he takes his tractor and he does his thing every day. And I don't know. I've had the privilege of living in the suburbs. I've had the privilege of living in crowded kind of areas, and then I've also had the privilege of crowded. I mean, now granted, this isn't like the city of Buffalo, but I've definitely lived in close together houses and all of that, and where there's just a lot of house parties on the street.
Sure.
It was in Amherst, right over by UV, so that probably explains it.
Sure.
But and then I lived out in Lockport for a little bit in an apartment, and that was just far from everything. Wasn't really country or anything like that. But after my father had passed away, I moved back in with my mom to help take care of her, and then also to even save up some money of my own.
Right.
And man, I love how peaceful it is. There's just something about being able to breathe like fresh air, and you get to smell the grass, you get to smell all your senses come to life when you're out there.
I'm a city boy myself. We were talking earlier about sports teams, and I mentioned that like Buffalo is my favorite team in every sport, and then Washington. I love the city of Washington, D.C. I've always wanted to live in Washington, D.C. My goal for much of my adult life was to live above a convenience store that got robbed once a week.
That's fantastic.
Like that was that like I love the life of the city.
Yeah.
And
so vibrant too.
And where you are now, I'm sure is beautiful.
Yeah.
But 3 days in, I would.
I mean, you're secluded, right? Like that's the struggle with being out in out in the country areas is that, you know, if I want to go, I have to go pick up my mom's medicine from like Wegmans, right? It's like that's a good 20-minute drive,
right?
And so it definitely is isolating, and with that comes its own problems, but it also has its benefits as well, right? It's just figuring out which of the lesser of the two evils, right?
And then we got Williamsville, which is its own hell, frankly.
Yeah, I have to say the traffic in Williamsville is insane.
It is.
Like, what I witness literally every day, like, I'm not even over-exaggerating, every single day.
What about the accident you just saw on the way over here?
Yeah, like, I got on the thruway, on the 290, actually, and instantly had to stop, and there was a ton of, like, police and ambulance and everything, a lot of lights, and I was like, okay, called them, told them I might be a little late because I don't know how long it's going to take. It didn't take that long, but it's just like there's always an accident somewhere, I feel like, every single day. And my car insurance went up when I changed my address. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I know why, because that's an area that gets a lot of traffic. But I used to live in Pembroke, like I was saying. I grew up there, and I was kind of like in the scene of what AJ's describing. Like the night you can smell the grass. Like it's very farmy. And I enjoy that lifestyle a lot.
Farmy's a word.
It's not.
Okay.
I made it
I'm
up.
about to make it a word.
Call me out. But yeah, so I enjoy that lifestyle. I can see myself in the city, like my personality and like how I connect with people. I can see myself living in the city for like a season.
Right.
And by a season, I mean like 6 months to a year, but then I get sick of it and I would want to go back to the country. But I don't hate the city. What was that?
Moving to the country, need a lot of peaches.
Oh yeah, I like that song actually. I know that song. But yeah, so I just I do like both. I just think I like the country setting more than the city setting.
Right.
But like I think they both have their perks.
All right. And then John is in the most urban area of all of us, frankly, because I live in Niagara County. Kenmore, I feel like everything's right there.
Yeah, everything's right there.
But you got to go slowly because Kenmore cops do not fool around.
Yeah, you know,
30 mile an hour.
There's cops everywhere.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with any of them, but I love Kenmore. I moved there it'll be 3 years this summer, and it's just continued to grow in those 3 years. It was growing prior to me being there, and it's just a great neighborhood. I live right in the village, and everything's right there. You know, growing up on Grand Island, everything's like 20 minutes away.
Right.
So now everything's like 3 minutes away. My gym's down the
everything's
street.
like on land somewhere else.
Right.
Like, there's nothing really on Grand Island, I feel like.
Well,
there's no
I
Wegmans.
had a friend that used to live on Grand Island, and we worked at the Tonawanda News together, and she just loved the trains. And I'm like, what is it with the trains? She's like, we don't have any trains. I'm like, why don't you have trains? She's like, have you ever seen a train go over the Grand Island Bridge? And I'm like, nope, I have not.
No.
So true.
And there's there's stuff there, but there's not like a Wegmans. There's not like coffee shops. Like there's
They
not
got
like
Tops
things.
there.
Yeah,
They got Tops.
you have to go off the island for everything.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, that's why I have such an appreciation for Kenmore's, because I have everything I need right there. And it's just it's a really great neighborhood. I love living there.
I got stopped by the Kenmore police a few years ago going like 33.
No.
And it was at like 3 in the morning, right? And like,
What?
dude just refused to believe that I had not been drinking. It just like, he was sure he got, like, because it was 3 in the morning. It's a very reasonable assumption. But, maybe get out of the car and do the whole walk and turn and still, I drew the breath 0.00. So finally he let me go, but it was like half an hour later. I'm like, dude, I just want to go home.
Wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like you were going like 50. You were going 33.
Right. And they will pull you over at 33.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They will.
All right. So that was a very long introduction, but I appreciate it.
We're good. Yeah.
So how did you guys meet? How did you become Voyager?
So we had. Sorry, what were you gonna talk?
No, you take it on because you started it really. Like you started.
Yeah.
You
So we had all known each other and met through a local church called the Chapel, and then through like the college age ministry and
The Chapel out in
Millersport. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that area. And whatchamacallit, so that was something that I was like deep into right up probably until I was maybe like in my early to mid 20s. I'm 29 right now. But yeah, all in all, we were all doing music separately, and then John was always I respected the hell out of this dude as a drummer and even as a person, right? And then Rachel too, met her, and I've never met anyone that could harmonize as well as she can. And so we started off with me doing my solo music, and then I had a song called Lover's Lie that I was really heavy with kind of trying to push, and then after that we played a show at the Cave as solo. We opened up for this band called Flues, and then we had been like, wow, this was a lot of fun. Let's do it again. And so we ended up doing it again.
Right.
And then this was right around COVID. I want to say 2022 was when we officially launched, but 2021 was when we started getting together, and then Rachel was just like, why don't we make this a band? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and I'll interrupt you there because there was like a project that AJ was working on his own.
I was getting there.
And he sent the project to us, and he said it was called Voyager. So that was like prior to the story of me reaching out to them saying I want to be a band.
Did the E get lost in the email?
It did. That was a good one. That was so good.
I love it.
But yeah, so the E got lost because we wanted to be different.
Sure.
We wanted to be cool.
I was about to say I wanted to be like cool.
Yeah,
right.
I like
what is
my
even
spell
that?
check does not.
Like, right?
Yeah, neither does ours. Neither does any of our spell checks.
Spell check likes us, but you can find us easily.
Right.
Yeah, because you just take out the
you'll
E.
find us.
Yeah. So I would say like when he sent the project and that was the name of it, and then we all got together, and we were doing live music together at different places, different settings. And when I was like, guys, we should just be a band. Like we are already doing the thing, and we sound great. And then they were like,
spoken than me, I must
they
say.
were like, what should we call ourselves? And I was like, Voyager. Why not? So that's why we did Voyager and where it came from. And then ever since then, it was April 1st of 2022. Is that the right year?
Yep.
And
it's not an April.
And it wasn't a joke, so that's why we did it.
So I don't know if you realize this. The All West New York Awards are announced on April 1st every year.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because April 1st is the anniversary of All West New York Radio.
That's so
All
cool.
West New York Radio kicked off April 1st of 2006.
That's awesome.
So
then our band anniversary is the same as yours.
All right.
That's perfect.
Stars,
so
right?
I'm just throwing this out there. We've got some things in the works. Next year is 20 years. We want to have a big 20-year anniversary party.
Yeah.
Oh.
It'd be kind of cool to have a band that shared a birthday. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a contract you can sign.
All right.
And we can email it with the E.
With the E? With the E.
With the E. Yeah.
So musical styles. How did you guys end up where you're at? Did you have the same thought process, or was there a debate, a fist fight? What happened?
It just kind of came naturally. Like
no, there was a fist fight.
AJ
John won.
was making some really great kind of Americana indie folk style music with his solo project that he mentioned earlier.
Now, is that what... No, so you won, like, country, Americana, folk, Blake. I feel like you won all the categories. What do you consider yourself? Americana?
We consider ourselves a folk country.
Country?
Yeah, folk country is the short answer.
Right.
There's Americana in our music. There's more indie references in our music, but the short answer we give people is folk country.
Gotcha.
We definitely recognize we're more of a subgenre of country.
All right.
There's some commercial sounding country in some of our music, but we fully recognize we're more of a subgenre of that.
We're not the honky tonk.
So yeah, we're not
people
country.
might think of.
Well, I do feel like country had... I'm not a country fan. Just want to throw that out there. And I feel like there are a lot of people like me, and so country kind of has a bad rap. But Americana, everybody loves Americana. And it's weird because they're like this far apart. You know, Mumford and Sons is like this close to being country.
Yeah, they actually just played Stagecoach this past year, which is a country festival.
Right. But I mean, I'm pretty sure Mumford and Sons is universally loved. Right. But they're that close to being country, and I feel like there are a lot of people that, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, we never It's funny because AJ and I were talking about this not too long ago. Our first EP came out in 2022, so we were a band for a year. And there's some, like Lover's Lie, and another song called Oh Brother, which is definitely very similar to what we are doing now. And then there's another song that Rachel wrote called Think of You, which is this very kind of Phoebe Bridgers-esque, like sad folk song. And then a cover of Billie Eilish's Lovely. And so we were just talking about how, while that EP might not totally represent who we are right now, there's still a lot of us in that EP, and it's very much us finding ourselves.
Gotcha.
And if you listen to,
that's the theme of Oh Brother right there, is finding yourself.
Right.
You know? I think if you listen to all the EPs consecutively, you start to get a hint of like, okay, this tracks. Like I can see where they got from EP1 to our latest EP, and then we'll be dropping an album this fall.
Is Oh Brother inspired by Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, actually, speaking of which, in third grade, there was chorus that I was in, and we had to do this. We learned about like the chain gang style, songs, and what was played was a clip from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou.
Soggy Bottom Boys is fire.
Yeah. And I don't remember much of the movie, but yeah, so that's what I immediately thought of when you mentioned that. But no, Oh Brother, that really came from a spot of trying to deal with and process through hurt in relationships, not necessarily love relationships, but just like friendships, deep friendships that you had for a long time that like might fizzle out, fade out, or something was done that caused a tremendous amount of hurt, and it's like I need to take time away. And the friendship might still be, salvageable, right? Like we still are going to be friends, but like right now I need time to process through that. And, only time will tell if that friendship works out, right? And so, it's funny, like you think about like the journey of a song, right? And like a song that you write now, might not serve you well, and you might not be able to live through it until, a couple of years or a few years down the road. And so that was something that a mentor of mine had also told me, was that the songs that you write now might not serve you any purpose right now. It might take a couple of years, but let me tell you, it's going to serve you in that moment, like a couple of years down the road or whatnot.
Do you remember the stuff that you were forced to read in like middle school and high school?
Yeah.
So when my oldest daughter, who is now 26, when she was in high school, I read all the books with her that I had previously read. Dude, they hit so different.
They do.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that we're forced to read in high school, we don't have the knowledge, the life experience
that's it.
to get it.
Yeah.
And so rereading these things as a then, 40-year-old or whatever, it's like, wow, like it really is good stuff. It's just not good stuff for a 16-year-old. And I feel like you're saying the same thing, that like you might write something that might not hit for you today, but it's going to hit for somebody today. And it might hit for you later, or maybe it might not.
Every song has always come back and hit me.
Really?
At some point. Absolutely.
Yes, I can confirm.
Yeah, and there's some seasons where, we've had Lovers Lie Out for a few years now, right? And that's a song that I had written, I want to say, almost 10 years ago, probably when I was 18 or 19. And that song, man, if you get into a messy relationship or you have that unrequited love, I've had so many of those instances. I'm that song just hits you right when you sing it. Same thing with even Scars, a song that Rachel had wrote. And there's moments where you really just love the song, and there's other moments where you might not listen to it, but then, man, it'll end up once you listen to it again, it'll hit you right in the feels. It all depends on really what you're going through. And that's it. We want to write songs that people can relate to. We want to put it in a simple enough way that any person can hang on to that and get something out of it, right?
Some bands are always writing and performing. Some bands write a bunch, then perform, then take a break from performing and get back to writing. How do you guys do it?
So I think that I could start off by saying for the past couple years, we've established that we're going to take a band retreat once a year.
All right.
And it started off I was on a 6-month road trip, and I ended up in Colorado. And I essentially...
Don't you hate when you just end up in Colorado?
No, I didn't hate it at all. I didn't hate it at all.
You took the left at Albuquerque.
Yes. And so these two, I invited them out for a weekend, and I was like, let's just write and hang out and get coffee and talk about whatever. And I had written the song Canyon Winds on the road when I was out that way. But I wrote that after the band retreat, but before on the band retreat, is what we call it, the band retreat. We just kind of wrote Born a Believer together as a band in our Airbnb. AJ started strumming and started playing and singing, and then John and I were like, whoa. It was just a moment, that's, okay, this is a song. And then we all kind of collectively wrote it together. And I'll let John or AJ explain the Born a Believer song. But basically we took that retreat, and then the following year we went to Nashville. And our buddy, he's our producer as well, he lives in Nashville, so he produced our song Scars in Nashville, and we did our retreat at the same time. And then this year we went to the Adirondacks, and then we wrote our new song that is unreleased.
So you do most of your writing on the road, it sounds like.
I do, personally.
It starts on the road, I would say.
And it starts on the road.
I would say, to answer your question directly, typically a lot of our writing happens earlier in the year.
Right.
And then early spring, we're currently tracking the final songs for our album that's coming out in the fall. So early in the year, first half of the year is typically writing and recording. And then as, shows pick up in the summer, we're usually finishing up the recording process and are able to kind of focus directly on shows.
Right, so that perfectly blends to what I wanted to talk about next. It seems like all the festivals are starting to announce things. Do you guys got any cool shows lined up for the summer?
Yeah, we are opening Taste of Country down at Salem Field this year.
No shiz.
Yeah, so we won. We won they do kind of a battle of the bands called Taste of Country Risers each year. And so we actually won the competition last spring. We're supposed to open it last year, but was cut due to some production issues and weather issues. So they allowed us to come back for this year, so we'll be opening that in June. We'll also be at North by Northeast in June up in Toronto, which is a really cool festival, kind of similar to a South by Southwest. We're also going to be at a festival called the Wounded Warriors, Southern Tier Wounded Warriors Benefit Concert, opening for Low Cash. And then we'll be finishing out the summer in Connecticut at a festival called Black Bear Americana Music Festival.
Very cool.
Yeah, so this is our first tour, essentially, just because we're in Buffalo, we're in Toronto, we're in Buffalo, we're in Connecticut, and...
Olean.
What did I say?
We're going to Olean.
Oh. Well, we were in Buffalo the past 2 tours. So we're in Buffalo, but we're also expanding out to Toronto, Connecticut, and Olean.
Right.
So we have all these different areas where, we're this is a tour. This isn't just, we're not just going to shows.
Right.
So we're really proud of ourselves for this year, just being able to like we didn't really obviously set it up. We got asked to be part of some of these, and then we applied for some of them. So it's a kind of a cool combination as a new band. And then we have some local shows like Craft Coffee House. We have one, if you're familiar. It's in Pendleton. But we love it there. They're
Back
like
to the old
our
stomping
besties.
grounds.
Yeah.
They gave us their first show, so we'll always be indebted to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're there. We usually do like a fun event with them. So they're celebrating their 7 years as a business.
Cool.
So we're going to be there for a couple hours. They have some good barbecue,
Dude,
coffee
they got
and cocktails.
damn good brisket. My God, dude, it is so freaking good.
Really?
I love it.
Yeah.
Great food. Really like a hole in the wall place, but amazing food, amazing coffee.
Isn't that always the way, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the best food is from a place that you're kind of afraid to go into.
But this isn't even a hole in the wall place.
yeah, I
This
guess
is
hole in the wall.
this is a very like it's a beautiful building and beautiful interior, and like I know that when we think of hole in the wall, we think of like like not so appealing, all that kind of stuff. But I think what John was saying by hole in the wall is like it's not well known.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. But I think, we're on an all Western New York podcast, so might as well plug it because it's in Pendleton.
Okay.
So Western New York.
Yeah, plug anything you like.
But, yeah.
What do you guys all do professionally?
I work in marketing.
All right.
So I went to UB for undergrad.
Gotcha.
Was a communications major. Was really involved with the music program there.
All right.
So I did like symphony orchestra. I did concert band, jazz band, percussion ensemble, modern dance, you name it. Was involved with all kind of music there. But
So there are two marketings. There's
Yeah.
marketing, which is public relations,
Yeah.
and then there's marketing, which is sales.
Yeah.
Which do you do?
I would be, if you were going to classify into one of those, I would be more in the public relations realm of things. So I work on a in-house marketing team.
Gotcha.
Doing web production. I am not sales. I do not have the demeanor for sales.
I several years ago was job hunting and had applied for a job. It was a marketing position, and they emailed and said, we'd like to come in for an interview. I called and I said, hey, just want to make sure that this position is marketing, it's not sales. Like, because I'm looking for public relations. I have no sales experience and I have no interest in sales. They said, no, it's marketing, it's not sales. So I go to the interview, I walk in and sit down at the desk in front of the person that's interviewing me, and he goes, now, you've got a lot of journalism in your career. Why do you want to go into sales? I kid you not. I said, I don't, and I left.
You gotta be up front. You gotta be up front.
All right, so we got marketing?
Yeah.
So I have like 3 jobs.
All right.
So I first and foremost am a coffee roaster. I just roast the beans and I enjoy it. It's kind of my me time in this season of my life. I work at a coffee shop called Goodrich Coffee and Tea in Clarence.
Okay.
I've worked there for almost 7 years. So I was a full-time manager at one point, but then I got married and started my own business. So that's my second job. I do wedding planning, coordinating, and design.
All right.
Just started that literally in January.
Okay.
And then my third job is I work with a florist, a wedding florist, Catherine Rose Floral Design.
So
Yeah.
I'm getting married on Sunday.
Are you?
Congratulations.
Do you need any last-minute help?
Okay.
You're all set.
He's like,
We're set.
good.
We're good.
Perfect.
My tie came by FedEx today. That was the last thing I needed.
Oh, then
So,
you're great.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so congratulations.
Thank you.
But yeah, so, and then this is a job for me, but I just figured that was a known, so
Understood.
I didn't list it.
Yeah,
but
no,
it is. Voyager is a very much priority and important part of my life. So,
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's exciting. So I thought do you already refer to each other as husband and wife?
Nope.
I thought you said my wife.
Nope. I've said fiance a couple times.
You did.
I can fact check that and confirm.
Was that,
He
maybe
said-
I was
he
hearing
said
wife because I heard the
fiance.
wedding bells ringing.
So if this show were next week, it would be wife.
Oh, okay.
But no. So for now, she still has like 6 days to like
to enjoy the
figure it out and
fiance
run away.
label. Oh. But that's exciting.
To realize her mistakes and go.
How long have you guys been engaged?
So we just got engaged in January.
Oh.
So we've been together for
For
about
a
4
while?
years.
Yeah.
So
Well, season of life is different for everyone.
Yeah.
Like some people take a long time, like 2 years for engagement. Some people take 8
So-
months.
as an old person, I mean, really, once you start dating in your 40s, like
Yeah.
you know that there's a possibility. So we've literally been talking about getting married since we started dating.
Right.
And then it's always been like, I'm not opposed to it, but moment of truth. She makes very good money. I'm poor. I wanted us to be on more equal footing.
Okay.
And she was fine with that. And then earlier this year, she decided she was no longer fine with that. And she's like, all right, let's just do it. So
Yeah.
she goes May 25th, 25. She goes 5/25/25. I said, all right, let's do it. So
That's awesome.
that was So she kind of proposed to me, but then I had to do the whole thing on the knee with the ring and the
Yeah, the
so
whole thing.
So I officially proposed to her, but basically she told me ahead of time, this is what we're doing. And I said,
Maybe
yes,
I
dear.
saw the ring. Maybe that's why I thought you were already married too.
That could be too, yeah.
Yeah, so,
No.
well, anyways, I know someone else that wore their wedding ring before they got married because they just want to do it for fun. I'm like, hey, do your thing, you know?
All sorts of inside baseball here. I was previously married.
Okay.
And we were married for 15 years. And I have an indentation. And I would find that every once in a while I would miss my ring. So a few years ago, I just bought a ring. And
It matches your glasses.
I have different colors.
I could tell. I had a feeling because of your shirt. I was like, you probably guys want to match every shark.
I do. I mean, I have different colored glasses, too. Like,
That's fantastic.
Washington Nationals. We got some blue. I got a clear. I got a Kevin Costner in JFK.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I literally have like 11 different pairs of glasses. And then all of these go on my glasses frames.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool.
That's great.
Anyway, so yeah. Very cool.
Thank you.
AJ.
Got a boring job, folks. I used to be an EMT for a couple of years, but I was working like 60 hours a week.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, when you're really trying to
for really crap pay.
Yeah, I mean, I made more money there than I am making now currently. So right now I do debt settlement. So I'm like the opposite of collections. So essentially, you're calling us to, see if we can call the creditor to, take off some of the interest and the money there that's owed. But it's an office job or a work from home office job, and it's really good for me in regards to just like I get to focus on Voyager just as much as I do my own
Is it fulfilling? Job. I feel like it would be like personally fulfilling to help people sort out their lives.
Voyager's fulfilling for me. I'll say that.
Noted.
I was doing before I was an EMT. I was doing debt settlement as well for 4 years with a company and called Strategic Financial Solutions. And if you look it up, they actually got shut down by the Attorney General's office.
These things happen.
So look up what happened there. But I wasn't involved with that, thankfully. I was on the like actual legal side of things. But anyways, speaking I wanted to get away from that, so I really wanted to help people. And yeah, I'm helping people financially in that regard, but I wanted to do more because I love health. I love medicine, and all in all, I loved the EMS kind of lifestyle for a little bit. But all in all, dude, like 60 hours a week, constantly staying on a street corner, waiting for those calls. And those calls, the hospital system, a lot of people treat the hospital just like a primary doctor. Yeah. And it's like we sit there and we wonder why, it takes so long to be seen, or why, you're sitting out in the waiting room. And it's because, people are going in for a reason that they should be going to their primary doctor for. But that's a conversation for a different day.
One of my best friends, who is now a nurse practitioner, was maybe 15 years ago or so, an ER nurse at ECMC.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with the plight.
Yeah, and so all in all, ended up leaving EMS, got back into debt settlement. One of my old bosses hired me on where I'm at currently. And, like I said, it just gives me a chance to work on music and actually feel clear-minded.
Right.
Now, granted, what's kind of crazy is that when I was actually, in EMS, I felt a lot more sane and a lot more calm in the crazy moments.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
it was its own release.
It was, yeah. And I don't know if that's just something for neurodivergence or anything like that, but that was where I found my peace.
Gotcha.
So now, yeah, I get to work on Voyager pretty much just as many hours as I work full time, right? The effort that you put into, your hopes and dreams, that's what you're going to get out of it,
sure.
Right? So if we're all collectively putting in all of our time into it, yeah, eventually something's going to happen, right? It's only a matter of time. And so I think this past year we all really started to dive into the fact that we got to be doing this just as much as we're doing for our other priorities, our other commitments and all that. And by all means, this has felt like the best year as the band that we've ever felt.
Very good.
Yeah, I would say to like piggyback off that, the band retreat, like this year, like even though in my brain I was like, oh, I really want to go out of state and go somewhere cool, but like the Adirondacks is cool, and it's not that far away, and we wanted to kind of make sure we're a little closer, just so we could drive there, drive home, no problem. And so for me, like I was like, okay, like when we go on this retreat, like we always do our goals, and we set goals individually and then collectively as a band. So I feel like this is our third one, so we just naturally know what to do and how to come prepared. And I would say like the same thing as AJ, like this year so far has been such a good year for us, and we feel very refreshed and like ready to go. And I think a lot of it had to do with the band retreat being our third one in a row, but also like we were definitely more productive, I feel, and prepared.
Yeah, the band retreats really help set us up for each year. I think they're a great time, one, to get away, but two, to, like Rachel was saying, we all set goals individually for what we want to see happen with the band, and then as a group. And it helps us be able to come up with measurable goals and, like, ask the question at the end of the year, like, we'll know at the end of the year if it is a successful year because we know what we're aiming for.
Gotcha.
And I think one thing that we talked about at our last gig, we were at the Kaz. We opened up for Huntley. I don't know if you were familiar.
Kaz is a great new venue, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Man,
phenomenal.
I love it. Yeah,
Talk
so
about
nice.
plugging all Western New York stuff. That's a good one.
Dude, I love Andre. Love everything he's doing at the Kaz.
Oh,
It
it's so
is.
cool.
If you guys haven't, to our listeners here, like if you haven't gone to the Kaz, just go out to one show. You won't regret it. It's a beautiful venue and amazing food. Yeah, great hospitality too.
But what I was saying was we were talking to Huntley in the green room, and he won The Voice in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of picking his brain on like that and the process and whatever. And then he ended up telling us like yeah, it was cool to win and everything, but like he's doing his own thing. He's like writing his own music and he's doing his own path. And he told us, he's like, it's not up to other people to define your success. It's up to you.
Right.
And like that like really stuck with me because I was like, that's what we're doing. Like we all three of us, we have our goals and we know our worth and our value and we know what defines Voyager, and like I think we're on the right path, and like we feel as if like our success is within like achieving our goals every year, and so far every year we do achieve all of our goals and then some. Yep. So I think that's where our gratefulness and our like positive attitudes are kind of coming from, is that we see that we set these goals and then we achieve them.
Right.
So I think it kind of speaks for itself, but I would just throw that in there just to add a little bit of why we are so proud of ourselves this year so far, is because we've been doing all those achievements.
So I hate to do this, but we're like way over the allotted time. So we kind of got to wrap things up.
That's fine.
Anything that you guys wanted to get out there that has not yet, now is the opportunity.
Yeah, we'd love to see you on one of our stops, and come up, say hi to us, and we'd love to get to know you. And yeah, we're just so thankful to everyone who has supported us, everyone who has voted for us for the All Western New York Awards, and really just everyone who continues to show up and show out day in and day out. Right? Like
that rhymed.
That's the writer in me, right? We can't do any of this stuff without y'all. Like and this is what it comes down to, right? Like we can continue to write songs and make music, but like we have the songs that we write for ourselves, but we also write them for other people too, and in the hopes that you can relate to it. And so without y'all, we wouldn't be doing any of this. None of it would be made possible. So
yeah, I would just echo those statements. I would say, we appreciate every follow we get, everyone that comes out to a show. We've had a lot of people within the last 6 to 8 months buy tickets and come out to shows that we had no prior connection with, people who just found our music and have been fans, and that means the world to us. So like AJ was saying, we'd love to see anyone come out to a show this year. Our first album's dropping in the fall, and we're just super excited about that as well.
All right.
I guess to end it, once again, thank you to everyone who supports and follows and listens. And our 2 latest songs, Go On and Get Out and Scars, those are special just because AJ wrote the one and I wrote the other. And I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say Go On and Get Out. I wrote that with our bassist, Drew Shannon, who I will always give him some props, because that dude is a beautiful lyricist and a beautiful writer. And co-writing, that's a whole different conversation, but he has become such a good co-writing teammate with all of us here in Voyager. So
But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, we are spelled Voyagr. There's no E. So if you are looking for us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anything, Amazon Music, there's just no E. So we appreciate all the streams and all of the support. So thank you guys so much.
All right, so I like to close out with a song. Why don't we do so with Go On and Get Out?
Sure.
Great.
Let's do it. One of you guys want to introduce it?
I will.
Yeah.
All right. So this song is Go On and Get Out, our latest release.
And we'll see you later.
I seen you behind every closed door. Honey, I know you all that well. Why should you fool me with your smile? All the lies unlike you come home. If an empty bottle marks a mistake, honey, I'll make